Raise your hand if you like being a PowerPoint designer.
Today, we're talking to someone who managed to save 300 hours in 2 months by saving time on PowerPoint making.
Imagine being able to focus on substance, not style, using your judgment and having all the free time you get back to have quality conversations with your clients.
As a product marketer, I make a lot of pitch decks for clients, and I just wasted so many hours adjusting text boxes, formatting stuff, and aligning stuff. It's such a huge waste of my time.
So what tool is this that could save you all this time?
Today, we're talking to Eric Fraser. He is the CTO of Dr. And he's going to show us how he used a tool called Gamma to save hundreds of hours on making presentations for clients. Could you start by telling us more about yourself and what you do?
Sure, yeah. So I work for a small consulting company called Dr. Lisa AI. What I do from day to day is I'm usually talking to CIOs or people that work for CIOs, and I'm helping them make choices about how to use AI to solve a particular business problem.
Awesome. So I got interested because I saw your LinkedIn post about how you're extensively using Gamma for presentations.
Yeah.
And then I think AI slides is one of those use cases where I feel like generative AI can really have a huge impact, reducing like tedious and repetitive work.
For
Could
sure.
you tell us about your workflow before using AI, and then how are you using it now?
This is the tool that I use a lot. It's Gamma, and it essentially is something that we use to generate, micro websites, presentations, documents that are meant for clients to consume. So recently, I noticed that a lot of the CIOs I talk to are very interested in the subject of what I'll call re-quantizing LLMs to make them smaller. Here's a tool that's called Connected Papers. So I'm looking at this subject of shrinking LLMs so that I can help the CIOs at our clients understand what are my options. Here's a bunch of research about re-quantization of LLMs. And so what I want to do is compress these two papers into a kind of a micro website and then just send the link to that website to the CIO. So now they don't have to read through a bunch of papers that look like this, right? So they don't have the time to read these types of papers, but it is exactly my job to read these papers and then to tell the CIOs what they mean. So if I had to get on the phone with every single one of those CIOs, that would be hours. So instead, what I do is I use ChatGPT 4 and I upload both of those papers and I say, can you summarize these two papers into 5 pages and then write the summary for CIOs who are familiar with IT but new to AI, right? And so it comes up with this summary for me. I'm like, okay, perfect. So then I take that summary and I literally cut and paste it into Gamma, right? So what I do here is I say, okay, Gamma, I want to create a little micro website and I want to basically give you some text to make into a website. So from ChatGPT, you can simply cut this or copy this, go to Gamma, paste it in here, and then you can make it into a presentation, a website, or a document. I'm going to make it into a website. I hit continue. And again, why am I doing this? Because it's quicker than getting on the phone with 12 or 15 CIOs one by one and explaining what the papers mean. So instead, I can send them this summary of what the papers mean, and then if they have any questions, they can call me. I have the choices here to either make it shorter, like summarize it, preserve everything that's written in the text here. And here I'm going to say, go ahead and actually add some comments about what this means. So Gamma itself can read what you've given it and draw some conclusions and write the conclusions. And then I'm going to just say, okay, go ahead and generate that. Before it goes ahead and makes it, it says, what do you want the website to look like? Let's just pick this theme here. In practice, we actually have a customized theme that we use at Dr. Lisa AI. And then I go ahead and press the generate button. Now it's making me a website. Now I'm not paying a JavaScript developer to make a website. I'm not having to make the website. I'm literally just sitting here waiting for it to make the website for me. I can go get a coffee, I can answer emails, etc. And we can literally just watch it at work making the website for us. This will take, less than a minute. And then if we're happy with the results, then we can just go ahead and publish the website. We can also edit this as well. So in real life, I do actually read what Gamma writes, and I read it carefully and I do edit it. But even then, it's still saving me hours and hours of time making the website, making it look good. Our clients like getting just a URL that points to a website rather than having to, book time with me and then we talk about it for 45 minutes and etc. We can start with them just getting the URL link to this website, and that'll give them 85% of what they want. They might choose, now I don't have to talk to Eric. I get it. I understand what this means now. And if they do have questions, they can always call me. But now I've had hours and hours of my time saved, and the client is still happy. I then publish it, and then I can obviously send the URL link to whoever I want. And this is what it looks like.
This is really cool. So I noticed are some sections of the content that talks about CIOs and how they can prepare for AI. So is that included in the paper, or is that something that Gamma just came up with based on the target audience you input?
Gamma knew to do that because I gave it some text that was generated from ChatGPT, right? So the end result that I was looking for was take these fairly complicated papers and summarize them for a busy CIO who does not have time to read this level of detail.
Got it.
So
you actually mentioned that your target audience is busy CIO in your prompt to ChatGPT. That's how.
Exactly. Okay. So when I wrote the prompt for ChatGPT, I told ChatGPT the CIOs are interested in how to compress LLMs with quantization, and I also asked it for a summary. So when I pasted that text into Gamma's AI was smart enough to say, oh, so you seem to want to write something for busy CIOs. So it was smart enough to read what I gave it and make a conclusion about what style to write in and who am I writing this for.
Okay, that's really cool. I feel like this is almost a crossover between the traditional PowerPoint and a website. It's not really a website where people are coming to browse content. It's like a piece of content you send to your clients that they can read on your own, but it's also presentable, so you can present it in a slideshow format.
Exactly. And you can also, if I chose to make it into a sort of a more traditional presentation, that is one of the options here. If I want it to look like a PowerPoint, I can say, go ahead, make it a medium amount of text per card. Go ahead and make it into, let's say, 10 slides. You see what it comes up with there. And then it should just basically turn all of your text into slides, which of course you can edit. So I think of this as basically a drafting tool where it writes the draft and then I get the responsibility to edit the draft.
And in terms of the impact it has with your clients and conversations, do you find that you're able to start that conversation at a much higher level?
Sometimes the client will get this output and say, thanks, that's what I was looking for. At other times they might say, all right, I read it, I have some questions, let's book some time. But as you say, then they're starting from a much more advanced point of understanding. So the conversation becomes a lot more meaningful and a lot more useful. I would say this helps with about 2/3 of the conversations that I have. And I think it's something that clients prefer as well because they get to read this content and absorb it in their own time. So rather than booking a 45-minute conversation with me and only having that 45 minutes to try and absorb the content that I'm giving them and talk about it, it gives them a lot more choice, and making it asynchronous where they don't need me on the phone or they don't need me on Zoom to get the information. It just makes their lives easier as well.
So before you used Gamma, did you have these materials sent to clients as conversation starters at all? And what tools did you use?
We did, except of course we'd have to make all these slides ourselves. So what we just watched there was it generated a draft of 10 slides in under a minute. And then in real life, I would probably spend 30 minutes cleaning up these slides. But before Gamma, that was probably at least an hour and a half of work just to get the draft.
It would be kind of work done in PowerPoint where you need to format everything, change the font, the logo, align the text, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now you're able to focus on the content itself and not care so much about the formatting.
Right. Exactly. That's right. So you now are using your brain to look at this and say, is that really how I want to express this idea to the CIOs? Or what order should this be in? It's a huge, huge time saver.
How close would you say this AI-generated slideshow is your ideal final result? Would you say it's 70% there, 80% there?
Most of the time it's about, it's probably between 70 to 85% of the way there.
So
Yeah.
you just need to do some final touch-ups and then it's ready.
But this way, you're exercising your judgment much more than you are pushing pixels and rearranging boxes and images.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Like presenting these three things together, that's sensible. I like that it did that. Presenting these three things as slide 3, not sure I love that, so I'd probably move that further down and move one of these other slides up. But that's really easy to do.
That's fantastic. And have you noticed an ability to make yourself more available now to clients now that they
Yeah,
you can put
definitely.
more of your time?
Definitely. I mean, it's a more fluid model of, scheduling time and making myself available. It's easier for them. It's easier for me. It's just a better flow of information.
What I'm hearing is it's saving you a ton of time, helping you get to a higher level of conversation much faster and sooner, and your customers also have more access to you. So to me, it's a win-win for everyone in the situation. You're free from having to move things around, drag boxes around in PowerPoint. Your customers can get smarter faster on their own time and get more of your time when they are ready to have that higher level conversation.
Exactly. It's a classically good use case for AI. It frees up the people to use their brains for something more valuable than just pushing boxes and typing letters into PowerPoint.
How many hours would you say you have saved through this?
It depends on the week, but probably overall, I think if I look at our real library of Gamma output, there's almost 100 things on it. Conservatively, 300 hours. And I only started using it about 2 months ago.
Thanks for making yourself available, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Cheers.